How is it going, everyone? It's K Limited here, and today we are going to be talking about a 3D platformer on the PlayStation 2. This is one that I didn't really know anything about until this year. I saw it for the first time, and I thought it looked really interesting, so I just went ahead and picked it up, basically off of the way it looked alone, because I thought the art style was pretty cool. And that game is Malice. Malice is actually a really cool little 3D platforming game. It's not the best game in the world, however. If you like 3D platformers, I think you're going to enjoy this one. You play as a fallen demigoddess, and it starts off pretty graphic, because right at the beginning of the game, you're playing as this fallen demigoddess, and she just gets her head bit off by this guy called Dog God. He bites your head off, and then you basically see death, and death resurrects you, and you have to basically go find a bunch of keys, go to a bunch of different levels, find all these keys, so you can finally have the power to go and defeat the Dog God and get revenge. The actual storyline is fine, you know, who really cares too much about the story in a 3D platforming game. I think that the actual character designs and all of the designs of the enemies and everything are pretty interesting. This game, you obviously are facing the main Dog God, but then there's also all of his minions, and he has this like gigantic crow army. So you're fighting a bunch of like crows and military outfits and stuff like that. And then you're also fighting a bunch of other just kind of random things. There's bugs that are crawling around that you can squish. There's all sorts of different other characters that you run into. There's these fat little worm creatures that worship you, and they're actually pretty funny. This game has a lot of comedy in it, and it does a good job with a lot of the comedy. It actually did have a few moments that actually made me laugh, especially because it's a lot of humor that you wouldn't hear in a video game today. One of the jokes really got me. It was it was a really fat worm that lost all of her kids, and you have to go find all of the kids for her, and she basically tells you, she's just like, I turned around for 5 minutes and all my kids are gone, and I need you to go find all 20 of them because I need all 20 of them so I can receive my welfare check. I was just like, wow, you would not be able to have that type of humor in a video game today, that's for sure. But I thought it was pretty funny when I heard that, and there's a few other, quips like that in it, and I like it quite a bit. I thought the humor was pretty good, and it's nice and it's refreshing to hear humor like that, because again, you just don't get that these days anymore. The actual gameplay, it plays pretty well. Obviously you have your 3D platforming and stuff like that, but you do also have a melee weapon that you can carry around and smack the enemies with. You have a regular, kind of weak attack, and then you have a slam attack that you can use. And you also can upgrade this weapon over time, and you also have magic powers you can use. There's this little magic power wheel, and you can unlock more magic as you basically continue on with the game. There's a bunch of different ones you can use. There's this glide magic that will help you kind of fall slower, and it will help you kind of get to places that are a little bit further away. There's stuff that will make you move faster, stuff that will make you attack faster, things that will make you so you don't take any damage from enemy projectiles. There's a bunch of different magic upgrades like that, and you have to get them, and you have to keep upgrading it as you play through the game. So I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of the collectibles in this game are heart containers. You can collect these little heart containers, and if you collect 10 of them, it will give you an extra health boost. And I collected almost everything in this game. The main thing you're looking for is those heart containers, and I collected 95 out of 100. I actually messed up the first level, because the first level I just thought was a tutorial level, and I mean it is, but I didn't really look around the first level much because I was just like, oh, this is just a tutorial level. I have to do this to get to the main game. And it turned out that I actually missed 4 of the heart containers in that level because I thought it was a tutorial level. I thought there was just one heart container. It was just telling you what they did. So that was on me. So from that point, I knew I couldn't get all of the heart containers, but I still tried my best to get all of them. And then the very last level, I missed 1 heart container. So I almost had all of them, though. 95 out of 100 isn't too bad, I don't think. But you have to get all of them if you want max health, but you can easily get through this game even without having the max upgrade. I think that the lowest I ever got was... the highest health upgrade I got to, I think, was 14. And the lowest I ever got in damage was 8. So, this game isn't super difficult. You can definitely get this game and beat this game without having to worry about collecting all the heart upgrades. But I think collecting stuff in video games like this and these 3D platformers, that's kind of the point of it, that's part of the fun. So I like going and trying to collect everything I can. The actual game does have boss fights as well, and the boss fights are pretty fun. I like how the bosses look too. Each boss is very different from one another. They all have a very different design. They all have their own attacks and stuff. They all have these kind of like moments where they rest, and that's their the opening for when you can hit them and attack them. You can do damage to them, and I think they look good. The only problem with them is that they last so long. Like, they last a little bit too long, in my opinion. The final boss fight really took forever. I think the last boss fight probably took me 20 minutes. And it was just really doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it gets really repetitive, and it gets tiresome after a while. So that could be better, but still, I did enjoy the boss fights for the most part. I just wish that they would have been cut a little bit shorter. Another complaint I had about this game is the fact that a lot of the levels you see, especially like the early on, you like return to the first level a couple times in it, and then there's another level later on where you return to it in a level that looks almost exactly like it. So they definitely reuse the levels, and I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer it when it's just completely new levels every single time, and there's no like redoing or replaying parts of other levels. So that was something that kind of annoyed me a little bit, but it's not a huge deal, and you can get through them pretty quickly. I think this game overall took me 4 to 5 hours to beat, and again, I got almost like, I guess you could say 95% of the game like completed total. So that's pretty good. I missed those 5 heart tokens, so I screwed myself over right from the beginning because I could never 100% complete it because I missed those heart tokens. Because you can't go back into the levels and go collect them once you're done with the level. Once you're done with the level, there's no going back to that specific one. Even when it has you replay the level, it counts it as a different level, and the heart tokens that are around the level and the other collectibles, they're all in different spots than they originally were. So you can never go back and redo the same level to get the hearts that you're missing. It will send you back to the same level, but like I said, it's a completely different configuration of that level, and it will not count it as the same. So that's a little bit aggravating too. I wouldn't have minded just being able to go back and get some of the heart containers that I missed. But either way, it's not a huge deal. I like the environments. The environments all look good, from the lava levels to the more kind of forest area. I actually like the forest area the best. I think it's actually probably the best looking area in the game. There's a lot of steampunk looking areas. There's a sewer area and stuff like that too. And I think that for the most part, all that stuff looks good. There is a little bit of a performance issue that this game has, especially during some of the boss fights. There is a little bit of slowdown that I noticed, and it's not a deal breaker, but it is an annoyance, and it's something I definitely would have to count against this game. But still, overall, I still think it's not big enough to make it unplayable or anything. It's just annoying when it happens every now and then. The music in this game is fantastic. I love the music. Really good music. The dialogue, all of that stuff's good. The voice acting is pretty good for the most part. I feel like Malice's the voice actress for Malice probably could have put in a little bit more like emotion into some of the stuff, because a lot of times the stuff that she says is very just flat, even when it's supposed to be kind of more dramatic and stuff. So that was the only thing that I noticed that was a little bit distracting, but for the most part, every other character sounded really good, and they did a good job. So what do I think about this game overall? Well, I think that this game is still worth playing. I would consider this game a hidden gem because you don't hear anyone talk about it, and it is really fun. And this game is, you can usually find it for around like under $20, and if you can pick it up for that, I still think that it's worth playing if you like 3D platforming games, and if you're just looking for something that's really fun and really different. I mean, the art style looks great on this game, it really does. The character designs, all that stuff, it looks great. And I think that this game is a lot of fun for if you can get it for a good price. So I don't usually do like scores on video games, but to kind of put this in like a category, I would say that this game is like a 7 out of 10. It's not perfect by any means. I definitely talk about some of the issues, but it's still a good game. It's still pretty good and still really enjoyable, and I think you'll have some fun with it if you pick this game up. Overall, I highly recommend it. I think it's a great 3D platformer, especially if you are a fan of these types of games. It's unique in terms of its story and its design for a 3D platformer. And overall, I really, really like this game. I think it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. It's really good. It does have an arcade mode, too, that you can do if you'd like. I'm not a huge fan of the like weird arcade modes that a lot of these 3D platformers have as like side mini games. But it basically has this arcade mode where you can try to collect as many coins as you possibly can within a certain time limit, and then you can like count your high score and record your high score and stuff. It's not my type of thing, but maybe there's some people out there that enjoy that type of stuff. But either way, it's just more extra content, you know? So it's always good when they provide more extra content. I do wish, also, when you beat the game, this is one other thing I wish that they would have done. I wish that you could carry over all your progress from the last game you beat into a new campaign. I tried to do it, and I couldn't figure out a way to do it, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I would have liked to be able to start the campaign with, like, the best weapon in the game, you know, and just be able to replay the missions that way, because, you know, you play through the game all the way through, you know, it would be kind of nice if they let you replay it with all the stuff that you already unlocked throughout the game and not have to unlock everything again. But not every game does that, and this is one of the ones that doesn't. But yeah, go check out this game if you can find it for a good price. I think if you can find it for under $20, it's definitely worth playing. Don't go crazy on the game, but, you know, if you can find it for a fair price, definitely check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.